Some of these Negro males just do not know when to quit. I recently got a tweet last Saturday from one of these Negro males from a single mother household. I'm assuming he comes from a single mother household because of his behavior, who decides to tweet to me saying that, I'm not marketing my books properly and that I'm not a success because I'm not marketing my books properly, and his mother is so much of a success. Now, I promptly blocked this individual and decided to keep it moving. Throughout the weekend, I had been gone because, I usually in the mornings I just do a quick little bit of book promotion. I post a couple of links on Facebook to various Facebook groups, and that's what I do for book promotion on the weekends online. I used to offer free ebooks on Kindle, but I've decided, to stop doing that because it just was counterproductive. But that's what I usually do on Saturdays. Now, I had left everything well enough alone and I went on to have my day. Monday morning, I come back to the library to start to post up my blogs and post up my videos and get things going. And lo and behold, I blocked this one Negro, and here comes another Negro. I guess he's a friend of this individual, and he decides to write several tweets that are a bit ranty. And I guess he's one of these pro-black, red, black, and green Negroes who owns a bookstore or some sort of thing. Decides to come to me saying he wouldn't put my books in his store based on the covers and that my covers aren't professional and all sorts of ad-hominem attacks. And on Monday, I decided, I was just going to block this individual too. But before I blocked this dysfunctional individual, I put one tweet up or two tweets talking about the following. What I said was, you know, you say that my covers, from some of the covers on my SJS Direct Import, these are the ones he tried to attack, are not professional looking, but the covers featuring this Negro female, this black woman on the cover, with her backside shown to us, her 68-inch rear end, or her 34 double D's or triple D's, that's professional. Or the covers featuring these Negro males wearing sagging pants, tattoos, and wife beaters holding 9 millimeters, that's professional. And my point is that, as a publisher who with a limited amount of income, because I lost my job and I was fired from my job in 2008, and I decided I wanted to get these books out. I'm in 2009 when I started the SJS Direct Imprint. I didn't have a lot of money back then, so I had to use what I had to use. I had to use the resources that I had to use because when you're just starting out, your books are not going to be perfect, but you want to get to the marketplace. If you look at any other, publisher's products, such as your Tariq Nasheed, if you look at his first edition, it wasn't perfect. If you look at Terry Wood's first edition of True to the Game, it wasn't perfect. If you look at Quan's first edition of Gangsta, it wasn't perfect. When you're first starting out, nothing is going to be perfect. Now, this was the first book. All About Maryland was the first book of the SJS Direct Imprint. And at the time, this was the best I could do based on the resources and the knowledge that I had at the time. I didn't have a lot of money, and I didn't have a lot, and more importantly, I didn't have a lot of time because when you've been fired from a job and you don't have, you're on living off your savings and unemployment and things like that, you don't have a lot of time. So you want to get stuff out as quickly as possible. Now, a lot of people don't understand that the cost of putting one of these books together is pretty expensive. An ISBN, which is and a barcode. Now, ISBN on the back here. See this number right here? This number, if you own your own imprint, costs $179. This barcode costs another $25. And at the time, I had to pay for Adobe Photoshop Elements at the time just to design this cover. So I had to pay for a lot of things in order to do this cover. And I wanted to put an image. I didn't want to use this art originally. I was forced to use the art again because when I would go to stock photo places like your iStock Photo or your other stock photo places, what I would find is there were no African American images. In 2009, there were no stock photos of anything African American. You could go look for any black image, there were none. And this has been a problem that has plagued me even to this day with books like the Thetas. This book I originally wanted to put a stock photo. I was looking for stock photos of black girls in sororities. Could not find a single one. And this book, I didn't even bother because looking for a image of an African American goth, again, cannot be found. When it comes on to African American images, there aren't that many out there. So I was looking for an artistic nude of an African American woman. I couldn't find one, so I had to draw one myself. Now I don't have much artistic skill, but this was the best I could do at the time. And in spite of that cover, this book still, sold fairly decently in paperback and ebook form. Now, a lot of people want to complain about the covers. Again, this was the best I could do at the time. So now, in 2011, I decided, I wanted to try to improve the quality because people had been complaining also about this cover from the book that I published in 2008, Cassandra Cookbook, complaining again. But I was trying to improve the quality. Now, for 2011, for The Temptation of John Haynes, this was not the original cover that I had planned to publish. This was not the cover I had planned to use. I had hired an artist to design the cover for me. I spent $400 on a cover, and this individual, he gave me something that looked worse than this. And because I was on a schedule and I was on a deadline, I was forced to use this concept art because the art that I got was unusable. So I was forced to use this art instead. So in order for me to get that book out in 2011, that was what I had to use. And I was trying to meet that deadline because the two big book sales periods in publishing are this. They are from April to about August. That's the summer reading season. And then there's the holiday reading season, which is not December, but November to February. November to February. Those are the two big periods, and I wanted to have product out for those periods. So it was either miss the reading season, or try to find another artist. And I didn't have that much money because I didn't have that much money at the time. And I was trying to hold on to whatever money I had, so that I could stay afloat until I found that next job. So it was just, I figured it's just a book, I'm just going to leave it alone at that and, call it a day. But, you run into people who want to be nasty, like the ones on Twitter and, some of these Negroes out here, because I've had people, trying to put, covers like this one on lousy book covers lists and, being extra nasty, not understanding that, books cost money to put together, and you try to hire artists, you try to hire professionals to do things, but if you had more money, you could do it. If I had more money, I would be contacting artists to, refresh these two covers. But I don't have the money right now. I just don't have the money now. Thank God that this year I was able to, raise some funds through a Kickstarter for these two books, from a couple of brothers who were willing to spend some money. I was able to raise money to put these two covers together, or else I wouldn't have been able to put these together. I mean, but some people are going to complain, no matter what, and they don't understand that in business, sometimes you do things just so you can have product out. Because if you can't, as a publisher, if you're going a year or 2 years without product on the marketplace, it's not a good look. You have to have continuously, producing fresh product. I mean, because there's two parts of the catalog. There's the front list, which are the new titles, and then there's the back list. And usually I use front list titles to sell backlist titles, and that's how any publishing house works. But some people, they want to complain about the covers again, and they want to use that as an excuse to not buy the books, but not understanding that there's a lot of substance in an SJS Direct title. There's a lot of positive stories in SJS Direct title, and there's a lot of good reading in an SJS Direct title, and there's more to an SJS Direct book than the covers. The covers are what they are. They are the best that I can do based on the resources that I have right now. And when you're out of work and you're trying to, build a steady revenue stream, that takes time. And what happens is a lot of people don't understand is that, when you're starting out again, it's not going to be perfect. Again, I go back to those examples of your Tariq Nasheeds, your Kwans, and your Terry Woods. When they first came to the marketplace, their books did not have fancy covers. Their books did not, come out with perfect design. Those books came to the marketplace, with basic generic covers. And people discovered them, these writers, and they liked them. And because people started buying them on the regular, here's what happens. They started to have more money to put into doing things like covers or page layouts or hiring editors. And that's how business works. When a business starts to, starts pulling profits on books, then the publisher can go back to the backlist and give you something like a refreshed cover or give you something like a re-edited second edition. That's what a publisher can do. But when a publisher is just starting out and they're just starting to get, books to the marketplace, that's not going to happen. Now, I would love to give, these 3 books refreshed covers, but it's just not going to happen right now. I mean, I even have other books I would love to give, refreshed covers. I mean, a lot of people, they sat there and they also, put this book, ISIS the Beauty Myth, on the lousy covers list too. And I would love to give this book a brand new cover, but here's the whole thing. All these books, and this book and, these other ones, that costs money to do a cover. Your covers range in price from $250 to about $3,000. And if you compound those costs with an ISBN, barcodes, and even the freelance work that I do, like the editing and stuff like that, we're talking about maybe $2,000-$3,000 to get one book to the marketplace. And when you look at that in proportion to the sales, you're taking a loss most of the time. Because I can even, point out, to this book right here. This is the ISIS series book. This is the first one. Now, I went on eBay and I sold parts of my own personal toy collection to get this cover made. And even though I paid for it, this book came out, it didn't sell at 2014 at all, and it's just, doing a few ebook sales here and there. And people don't understand, how much money goes into a book and how long it takes to get a return. It may take years for a publisher like myself to get a return on a book. And people don't understand it. They think that you're just going to get an instant return. Now, a lot of these street lit authors and a lot of these hood authors, yeah, they'll hustle and make a few dollars here and there. But as a businessman, I understand this is a long haul business and that, the better selling books, will eventually pay for the other ones that lose. But it takes time, to get to that point. It takes time to get a business, to a point of profitability. And I'm trying to get the legs up under this business and, get it moving. But, you run into these dysfunctional Negroes who just don't understand how it works. They're doing some hustling. They're not, trying to build a catalog or, or trying to work their front list or their back list. They're not trying to do any of that stuff. And they're not trying to, reach new markets and get new readers like I have over the last last 6 or 7 years, trying to reach different demographics like your African American men, your African American tweens and teens. That's one of the reasons why I do ISIS series books, because I want to get the tweens and the teens and the young adults. And I want to have a broad audience. I want to have audience that shows the entire spectrum of the African American experience, and gets different groups rather than just going for a single solitary group like your street lit authors or your hood authors, or your erotica authors. Yeah, that's a nice niche, but you know I want to make it a little bit more diverse and bring some diversity to your bookshelf. But what I run into is resistance, and the saddest part is I ran into resistance from your pro-black, red, black, and green people who say that they want to empower black people, but when a black person, I'm finding more and more, is when a black person comes to you looking to get help, like I did with this Kickstarter this year, there they are not wanting to do anything. And this is another case of another so-called pro-black, saying that they would not want to help about a fellow black man. And it's showing me, the truth regarding these pro-blacks. They're all about pro-blackness as long as they don't have to do anything or take any action. But when it's not, and then more importantly, is not take any action. But when it's time for them to take any action, then they want to find excuses and straw men to come in to avoid doing anything. This is what I'm seeing with these pro-blacks, and this is what I'm seeing also with these dysfunctional, individuals from these single mother households. They want to come at you talking about all this other stuff, but when you try to come at them with a solution, they want to run away because this is the solution I have been, proposing for the last 2 going on 3 years on people who complain about covers, and even when I started out, again, people who complained about the covers. These are your 3 solutions to help me improve the quality of the SJS Direct publications. One, you can buy the books so that I can increase my sales so that I can have more money to budget for items like covers. Two, you can donate to Kickstarters or crowdfunding projects that I do, like I'm going to be doing in 2016 for the sequel to The Temptation of John Haynes. Now, if you want me to do a new cover for this book, you can donate to the Kickstarter in 2016. And I'm planning on making it one of the benchmark rewards if I can get it to go through to do a new cover. If I can get enough donations for the new cover and it goes beyond that point, I'll do the cover for this one too. So that's another thing. Or 3, your third solution is to hire me to do a job for you. Now, I've been unemployed for, again, 6 going on 7 years, and I need full-time employment. And I have a whole host of skills. In addition to my writing experience, I have customer service and sales skills because selling these books is sales and customer service. I have some marketing skills, and I have an A+ certification as an IT technician. So these are your options, But what I find is whenever you start talking solutions to most black people, they they start running away. This is when you see people run away. And whenever I present solutions to people, again, that's when they wind up disappearing. This is where you see many of these black people, heading for the exit, because solution, again, means the end of the problem and that you have to take action to you have to take action to move forward. The Negro does not want to move forward in most cases. Now, every time I would present solutions, again, this is what happens. These people, they want to attack you, but when you come at them and say, here are your options to help me solve the problem, they don't want to help you solve the problem. What they want to do is continue to argue with you and go back and forth with you. And again, as a businessman, I don't have time for that. When people try to start drama with me, my policy is always this. I'm either going to block you, or I'm going to delete your comments, and then I'm going to move on. I don't mind if people disagree with me, but I don't have time to go back and forth with you. As a businessman, I'm like this. If you want the product, you're going to buy it regardless of the cover. You're going to buy the books because you like the content, because you want to try something different, because you want to take a risk on something. And just like these people would go out here and go buy these street lit books and these erotica books and all these other books out here, they can take the same money, and go out and buy my books and take the same risk on them, because if you want to help someone elevate themselves, you're going to help them elevate themselves, and you're not going to use shallow, superficial excuses to avoid doing so. What you're going to do is say, "Look, I see this guy. He's trying to create some positive black fiction. You know, It looks like he's starting out, so I'm going to buy his stuff to support it." And I've supported other self-published authors, other comic book artists, and I know that everybody's got to get started somewhere, and that you know it's not where you start, it's where you finish. And if I can help somebody finish and get themselves to the next level, then I feel like I have done something, and I feel that that's the best thing to do. And I believe that because I try to do that for other artists and writers, someone will reciprocate and do the same for me on and the work on my SJS Direct imprint. Because I believe in reaping what I sow, and I always try to put positive seeds in the ground in order so I can get better fruit. And when it comes down to it, you know I've published, a lot of books because I said to myself, I want to get these books to the marketplace. I want to get this message out there, and I want to get these positive images out there. Now, everything is not perfect, but as I said before, when I get the money and I can find the resources, I will refresh many of these covers. But that takes time, and most importantly, it takes money, and a lot of money. And until I can get that money, people are just going to have to make do like I had to make do, and just take that risk and go out and give these books a try. I write high quality, positive black fiction, and I'm urging people, just give it a try. Don't worry about the covers, because what people say are bad covers right now, they'll be saying in a couple of years this is a first edition, and that this is a classic, and one because that first edition, that's going to mean something. I mean, you were there when it started, and you're going to have something great. So, again, I'm just urging you guys to go out and give these books a try. Don't look at and, help me out on these solutions, because you can either be a part of this, you can either help out with the solution or just be part of the problem.